Keano back in court as banter allegedly gets out of hand. Plus, Caoimhin Kelleher is ready to move on from the Reds. And Nathan Fraser turns down the boys in green again. What next for the Wolves, man? All this and more coming up on Lansdowne Roar. David Dunn here, joined by Martin Prendergast. You're very welcome to another episode of Lansdowne Roar. And as always, if you like what you hear, love what you see, scan that QR code, hit that subscribe button, and head over to our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you want opinion, head over to lansdowneroar.ie. Martin, how are you doing? We're back. We're in international window. It feels all warm and nice and fuzzy. And the real world doesn't matter anymore, does it, when we're in the international window?
No, we're in a safe place now, Dave. It's just what the podcast's all about, isn't it? You know, Irish football, and
Bubble.
we'll be doing the build up towards obviously the two games coming up and following the women's game. They're playing on Friday, aren't they? And also the under-21s are in action. So yeah, busy window for Ireland internationally, and yeah, we've got it covered here.
Absolutely, we've got the lot. We're heading over to Dublin on Monday. Well, the match on Tuesday, but a fly in on the Monday. And then the following week, we're going to be over in Portugal in Aveiro, is it? Aveiro Municipal Stadium. I'm actually flying in through Porto. So if you do see us, give us a shout. Back in the real world. And Roy Keane is back in court.
Whoa. Now, Dave, come on. He's a victim of this. He's a victim. That's why he's in court.
All right. Yeah. Might have something to do with it. Yes, Roy Keane is actually giving evidence in court at the moment against Mr. Law. What's his name? I am the law. Sorry, I've got do have the information here. Scott Law, 43, basically allegedly headbutted Roy Keane, and Roy Keane went after him because he didn't like that, not one bit, as the joker would say. Actually got the footage here. This is the footage that was shown to the court as evidence. I don't know if we're allowed to show it or not, but guess we'll find out. And here he is. This is after the alleged headbutting incident, and Roy Keane grabs him, elbows him in the face. Martin, you saw it. That's an elbow.
I don't know what I'm looking at there. That's very similar to the McAteer elbow in a sense, but he didn't catch him there. Roy's got to practice his elbows, I think.
And he's dropped his bag. Oh, there.
Yeah, look, he's not. If he was that bothered about it, he wouldn't have dropped his bag and left it down, would he? So and gone to that. So that is his mate, Big Meeks, is it? Micah Richards. He stepped in and held the guy, but I mean they ended up letting him go. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see the fallout of that, and that just shows you though, like where does banter across the line?
Well, apparently, I'm reading this from BBC. It says former Manchester United midfielder Roy Keane gestured towards an Arsenal fan during a football match to meet him outside after banter turned more aggressive, a court has heard. He said he pleads not guilty, Scott Law, to common assault. It was actually last year when Arsenal beat United at the Emirates. And they go on to say that Mr. Law's defence team alleged that CCTV footage from inside the stadium played in court showed Mr. Keane elbowing the defendant in the face. I'm just going to have a look at that one more time before we continue on. Keane says that he was trying to apprehend him, that it wasn't an elbow in the face. I don't know about that. But yeah, basically.
I think it doesn't. Look, look, you'll be calling me the defender of Roy Keane. Roy Keane was really lost his temper there and had just been headbutted, and was trying to. I think he was trying to apprehend him because otherwise he's going to go wading in, isn't he? And play.
He'll probably go windmilling.
Worry about his banks, yeah. So, yeah, it can happen. But there is interaction at grounds with pundits and stuff. You often see them come through in the media circles, don't you, Dave? You see them coming through. They do go through the crowd to go into the.
Yeah. No, I mean you have to. There are bubbles. Unfortunately,
you have to mix with the common people, do you? Do you like that going through the raw faithful? Do you get apprehended? Is everyone safe for next week?
Yeah, but I don't go around elbowing people. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know. I think if someone went for your little bag there, Dave, and started trying to take the chocolates out, then they might have a problem.
You leave your hand, take your hand off me munchies. I do remember one time actually, and then we'll go back to Roy Keane. I remember I was walking into the stadium and I saw somebody. I was walking in, my accreditation, or to get my accreditation. I had my accreditation, and I kind of saw the corner of my eye, and somebody started making a beeline towards me, and I was like, "Oh shit!" They're either gonna, hopefully say that they like the pod, or mistake me for somebody else, or twat me. And thankfully, he was like, I really like the pod. I said, "Oh, thank you very much." And he said, "I just want to say hello." So thank you very much. It was a very nice, pleasant situation there. But
I've been up there though in like behind the media section, like as you the thoroughfare that you walk through, Dave, and like we've been doing this pod now for a few years, and you blanked me, Dave. You
yes, I
ignored
do.
me going
I
past.
do.
So
I sit there to the security chap. I'm like,
get
get
him
him
out.
out. Get
Yeah.
him out. He doesn't have a pass. Only people with passes are allowed in. Check his accreditation. Make sure it's not 6 years old. Um, but going back to the Roy Keane situation, under cross-examination, the police officer in charge of the case told Highbury Corner magistrates, I'm surprised you weren't there, Martin, it's up towards your neck of the woods.
Mm.
Well, North London, I suppose, is not actually anywhere near where you are. There may have been contact from Mr. Keane, but it does not look like a deliberate elbow to the face. Defence barrister Charles Sherrard, KC, said that this was absolute nonsense. Oh, yeah, it's KC now. It's not QC, is it? Because
KC,
obviously the
yeah.
Queen, yeah. It was absolute nonsense and accused the officer of lying, alleging that police had done nothing to investigate evidence pointing away from Mr. Law. Then they said his defence team as well alleged on Wednesday that Mr. Keane was captured on a camera using gratuitous violence against Law by smashing his nose with his elbow. Keane then counter-argued, said, well, look, I was trying to stop him from getting away. Mr. Sherrard, Law's KC, asked the former Ireland international, how are you stopping somebody getting away with an elbow to the face? Mr. Keane replied, it's how we did it at United. No, I'm trying to grab him, is what he says. I've got my bags. I've got bags in my hands. I was trying to grab him, stopping him from getting out. I must have said 9 or 10 times, someone call the police. And then Gerard, he's a right nasty bastard, this guy,
Mm.
allegedly, alleged that the red mist descended on Mr. Keane after a VAR decision went against Manchester United towards the end of the match, and he was taunted by home supporters. He alleged Mr. Keane swore at Mr. Law and said, say it to my face. And Mr. Keane replied, I said it when I was at work. Disagree? And CCTV footage appeared to show Mr. Law running away from the stadium on the day of the incident. Look, all joking aside, I don't know. It does look like he's trying to apprehend him, and it sort of gets all a bit mad. He does have bags in his face. He's probably trying to get inside the mind of Roy Keane, and that is one hell of a place. There's probably a little bit of a wanted, he's just been allegedly headbutted, right? And if you were headbutted, you know, y- you're not going to be best pleased about it, are you? Not to have ever been
No,
headbutted.
you do see though people, like media personalities and stuff, being jeered and stuff. They, as we said, they walk through the crowd and stuff, and in that kind of volatile situation where high emotions are high, aren't they? And I like that some of the pundits now are openly supportive of teams. I mean, Keane can be quite scathing of United, but we know he's on the United fence in most arguments.
Unless
But
when
he would
it's
have been
Ollie.
disappointed with he would have been the pro Hoyland in that situation, because that was the situation, that was the incident I think where VAR stepped in and didn't give United a penalty and whatever it was.
Yeah.
So you've got that kind of situation going on, and then he's interacting with the fans who are obviously buzzing, Arsenal fans, and they're jeering him and stuff, and they're up close. You can see it on TV all the time behind the glass panels. That they're up there, and Roy is an emotive character, but I think I would think the guy must have done something major that Roy would have reacted like that, and even Mika Richards reacted as well, trying to apprehend him and hold him, and they did hold him. I mean, there was footage other than this. I remember in the aftermath of it, when it was first reported that it's Mika Richards
Wasn't
holding him and things like that.
I would say, yeah, in my opinion of the situation, is that he'd have to do something really bad. I mean, you see ex managers, ex players going through the crowd all the time. Some taken through. Now he would have been. He wouldn't have. I don't know if he'd have a CP on him, which is close protection officer, Roy Keane. But they would be. You'd be responsible for shepherding those, maybe with just normal SIA badge holders, and they would just shepherd them. Right, we need to get you from here to the studio afterwards. And you might have somebody who would be responsible to, you get these guys to the cars. I've never worked at Arsenal, so I don't know how they run it. But normally that'd be the case. You'd have like a security team with them, just get them to and from. Just make sure, but not really to get out of fear of being attacked. Well, not back then. More just sort of like logistical. Just get him there.
Yeah, you're managing the crowd's interaction with them as well. I mean, look, I was at the farcical Euro 2020 final, and Ray Houghton was coming through, and covering the game with George Hamilton for RTE, and you know he stopped and had a photo and stuff with us and had a chat, and he was fine, but he was being escorted along by security. That's just standard practice. But
Yeah.
I think it probably has changed it now, kind of sadly for many fans in a way who maybe have stopped and had photos with some of these pundits in the past, because they'll just give them more protection now and not have that kind of level of interaction with some of the pundits as they're coming through.
Yeah, no, it is a sad state of affairs, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
More on that as it unfolds. Be interesting to see what the verdict is. I'm sure you'll be there, Martin. He'll probably come ahead of the
Depending, right?
clock. Or probably if he gets away
Did
with
it
it.
say where this lad lived? Normally it says where they're from, doesn't it? Yeah, because I wouldn't have his address.
Why should I say? I'm a bit worried, Martin. Should I be telling that?
No, that's why. That was all. That was a joke, obviously.
Yeah, it's not a
Hunt him
joke.
down
Is it,
for
Martin?
Ireland.
No, well, man, I think half of Ireland wants to hunt him down. Roy Keane down. Moving on to another Corkman, actually, funny enough, Caoimhin Kelleher. He was in the news this week. He said that basically he's ready to move on from Liverpool. He wants more football. Randomly, I have an article here from the Daily Record up in Scotland, and apparently he's been linked with Celtic, but he had an interview with The Athletic, and this is what he had to say. It was the first time in my career that I had a spell like this, and I loved it. I thrived on it. I've been waiting for a moment like that. It was a massive opportunity for me to be Liverpool's number one for that long. It was my time to show the level I believe I can perform at and level people at the club think I'm able to play at. I proved I'm good enough to play in the Premier League. I'm comfortable there. I've always had that belief in myself. Proving it to people was satisfying. I've had such an amazing time at Liverpool. It's been crazy journey. It's been a crazy journey for me, and one that I've absolutely loved. I love the club. I love the fans. I have a great relationship with the players and the staff. Whether it's here at Liverpool or somewhere else, I do feel the next step for me is to be at a number one. And also, he went on, didn't he, saying that like he wanted to leave, but Klopp said to him, "Look, if anything happens to Allison Becker, I need you here." And he said himself that he's not stupid. He wants to be number one. He'd love to be number one at Liverpool, but he knows Allison Becker. When he said that he's been the best goalkeeper in the world for the last couple of years, that's a debatable but arguable point. It is time for him to move on. Maybe it's an opportunity, a great opportunity now with Arnie Slot coming in. Klopp's gone, and a clean break for Kelleher, really.
Yeah, I think he does need to move. I think fair play to him. He's had an incredible career at Liverpool. All the trophies he's won and the experience he's had. He's gained that experience,
He's won the
especially
lot, hasn't he?
Champions League football. He's won loads of trophies. He's been a key player in big pressure environments. Liverpool need to win trophies. He's won them League Cups and things like that. So he's done really well, and he's only 25. This is an opportunity now. He is the Ireland number one, and that is probably circumstances, but form, I think, latterly in the season. But obviously, Bazoon is injured now, and I'm not. I want to talk about Kelleher, but it's a shame for Bazoon. This is the opportunity that's going to come around. If Bazoon is injured now, by the time he comes back, it's a crossroads as well for Bazoon. Coming back from his injury, will he ever regain that form? Will he ever get in and have that profile raised? Because Southampton, of course, are up, which is brilliant, but Kelleher, if he moves and gets that move right, and he plays week in week out, like I think Celtic would actually be a really good move for him. Playing Champions League football, which he knows, he'll be comfortable there. Look, he'll have more pressure, obviously, in the Premier League and more profile there. So a very experienced keeper at the age of 25. He's got 15 years minimum if he stays injury free. He's got to be worth, isn't he, a punt on from any Premier League team who's looking for a goalkeeper, just because he's been at the levels. He's going to come in there having trained with Becker and their goalkeeping coaches and things like that, and he's just got that experience. He can deal with pressure, and
Yeah.
I think he's fantastic for us at Ireland, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, he needs to be looking at being number one now. He's 20, as you said, he's 25. He could do it in the Premier League. He had a bit of a wobble, I think, towards the end of his run at Liverpool. He was brilliant for a lot of it. I think he wasn't great in the 4-3 FA Cup game against United. I'm not digging him out. that was when the wheels came off Liverpool's season. To be honest with you, they never recovered from that, did they? Much to your delight. Look at you there. Get that fucking smile off your face. Um, but yeah, I'm not blaming on Kelleher as well. He had a fantastic run. He was brilliant. Some really phenomenal saves there. To be honest with you, I think he should be punching well above. Not having a go at Celtic, but
But
you
you are.
know, yes. No. It's just I think he hasn't. He's proven he can be a Premier League goalkeeper,
Oh yeah, no, I
and
know that, but
that's what he should be doing.
they will be in the Champions League. They will have profile matches and
They'll
stuff.
be going
He's
out
a
of
good
the Champions
yeah
League very early, though, Martin. Like
yeah, I
he,
suppose so. But he's definitely one, isn't he, for any of the top 5, 6 clubs looking for a goalkeeper. Well
he's a
worth
top
there because
goal.
he can come in as a number one. Like I think he can come in as a number
Yeah,
one, and that's important. And just there'll be a pressure on him, of course, but massive opportunity for him, and he can, and whatever way he'll be spoken of glowingly like Klopp in any analysis when he inevitably becomes a pundit of Champions League nights or Premier League football at some stage.
mm,
He'll be talking up Kelleher, and he'll have a lot of friends in football who are promoting him, and amazing kind of apprenticeship really he's had. And it's crazy. He's 25, and it's just that's the life of a goalkeeper, isn't it? You've got to
absolutely.
be on the pitch, and he's done well when he's been there, but we do have to see him over a course of 15 solid games to see, and that'll be the risk that any team does take with him.
Absolutely. Right. So moving on to this lad here, Nathan Fraser, who has turned down the Republic of Ireland again, the under 21s. He turned him down in March, basically because he was the only fit member of Wolverhampton Wanderers. He was their only fit striker, I should say. So that was understandable. But apparently, this time around, he's just gone, nah, I wanna concentrate on my career at Wolves. That old chestnut Martin, eh? He wants to concentrate on his old career at Wolves. Um, I mean, it's not as if he's torn the Premier League up last season. He's made 7 appearances, 1 start, 6 as a sub. He's turned down the boys in green again. It does seem to me a bit of a classic case of having his head turned a little bit somehow.
Yeah, but he's a young lad, isn't he? And we've seen some of the kind of feedback to this kind of story breaking on social platforms and everything. Everyone's giving him grief and saying, "Oh, you're better off without him." Then, and a little bit like kind of first view we had of many people had of Tom Cannon turning down the seniors before. So that these are young lads. They're impressionable. They're under pressure from their agents and clubs, and they want to. I kind of don't have too much of an issue in it with the sense that he will want to. He's got to make a career for himself at club level first. Now, whether you argue does he need a season in the season games where he goes off with the under 21s on to Zagreb because that's where they're going. Maybe he's managing an injury or whatever. We don't know, but it's disappointing. Obviously, it brings more speculation. Every time we get these young lads who have got high promise coming through, we have Jim Crawford asked in every press conference now, "Oh, this one's turned you down," or "Who's this people?" These stories kind of coming out don't really help us, but we want to see the green shoots getting through, don't we? And he's a good player, but there must be. We hope there's lots of other players coming around after him, and he's got to prove himself at Premier League level to even think about qualifying for any other country that he may have in mind.
Apparently, yeah, he's third in line. He's behind Sinclair Armstrong, and reading this from a newspaper that I cannot say as a Liverpool fan. But according to this particular paper, that he's behind Sinclair Armstrong, who's done really well at QPR, and he's got a senior cap, as well as Millwall's Adamo Amaku and Johnny Kenny as well, actually. So he's fourth in line. He was on loan from Celtic to Shamrock Rovers. So it's a sad situation. Maybe that's the case. Maybe it isn't. Like you said, his head turned because it's not as if England have come across. I don't have to sound derogatory towards Nathan Fraser, but I mean, only he can explain what's going on. But it is a bit of a blow, because we do need as much talent as possible. But hopefully it's not the case, and he starts firing in the goals, and he plays for the boys in green.
Yeah,
We're talking about him a few years' time.
that's it. It's a bigger question, and isn't it? If he's kind of turned around and said, "Look, I really want to focus getting really, really fit now," and he's been promised you'll get opportunities at Wolves, so this is what you need to go and do.
Mm.
You don't need to go off playing for Ireland at the moment because your form will bring that into it as long as you have a good start to the season. He obviously wants to travel with the first team squad wherever they're going to be going on pre-season tours. So you can understand that. It's a bit disappointing for us because we want to see these players get integrated into the squad, feel Irish, be welcomed into it. Interesting as well. I know that I looked at some of the media schedule for the under 21s because they've obviously got 2 games. They've got Croatia and also England under 20s, and both those games are in Zagreb coming up, in a week's time or whatever. But Paul McShane's involved there as well, so I'm sure he'll be asked about it because he's a very experienced coach with working through youth players, basically coming through doing that job at United. So it'll be interesting to kind of get his perspective on that, of when these boys are coming through, how do you welcome them in, how are you working with them? Because you've got a very limited camp, haven't you, with or kind of period of play really with the under
Yeah.
21s. They're eligible for about 3 years
I
overall.
just don't understand, unless it's because he knows he's not going to play. I don't understand. No, I want to concentrate on my first team fitness. Like, you've played 7 games, mate.
He's a young lad as well.
Yeah, like, should you not be? Is it not an experience? You're going to a different country. You're meeting the lads. This is what's further down the line. I don't understand it. I'm sure he's got his reasons, whatever they are. I don't want to spread conjecture like butter. Although it does seem to me that maybe he doesn't feel part of it. He doesn't want to be a part of it, or maybe he just can't be arsed. Well, I'm not going to play. What's the point? As you say, he wants to stick with his club, stay in Wolverhampton. Who knows? But hopefully he will feature at some point. Anyway, for the boys and green, we'll see what happens. I'm sure a developing story. Speaking of developing story, Martin, it's released this morning, actually. I think it's some fantastic news that a young lad at Shelburne, Finn Sherlock, he's going to join Hoffenheim. And fantastic news. He goes over to Germany, another young member of the boys in green on his way over to the continent.
Yeah, interesting this as well, because we want our players to develop, learn kind of football in different countries as well, because it does help with their kind of grassroots, obviously young youth development as well. So it's an interesting one. I mean, he's a captain as well, so
Yeah,
probably a big loss to Shelburne, who are doing very well at the moment, obviously. And wish him all the best, of course. And who kind of following that now. Some of our players are abroad and they go there and they get a taste of that different kind of setup, different language, brings them along, makes them a bit mature as well. So best of luck to him.
not fantastic. I actually saw that news breaking on Republic of Ireland player tracker. Connor McAvoy. Keep butchering names. I'll tell you about another one I'm getting lots of views for on WhatsApp. But Connor McAvoy doing God's work over Republic of Ireland player tracker on Twitter. Give him a follow. He will be with me in Dublin because Martin, you're not going to Dublin, are you?
No, I'm at the Irish Supporters Club Awards on the Sunday. So I'm seeing at the moment if I may be able to get over. I'm not sure. I don't think so.
Asking for permission. Release Martin. Will Martin's wife release him for international duty? God, it's like Alex Ferguson, isn't it?
No, there's some other stuff going on as well.
But you do fantasize being married to Alex Ferguson, or Martin, don't you? Sometimes.
I would have been a wonderful husband to Alex Ferguson.
Fergie time. God, that conversation went weird. Yeah, that's what we do here in Lansdowne Moor. Speaking of which, actually, there's no way to segue from that into anything. So I saw this as well on Twitter. This was shared by the FAI. Obviously, there's local and European elections around Ireland. Obviously, we have a general election over here in England, and I can't wait for that. I'll tell you right now, I'll be voting for Labour. Get the fucking Tories out. Sorry, bit political there, Martin, but there you go. But over here, over in Ireland, they were tweeting this about saying that, talk to your local MEP, I suppose, and your local TD, and basically get them talking about Irish football. And this is kind of going around a little bit. It's had a bit of a mixed reaction. You can see they're talking about Irish football. There's apparently just under 250,000 registered players, 80,000 volunteers, lack of football facility investment versus other major sports, etc., etc., etc. And of course, we've had a mixed reaction on Twitter. Some saying, well, one guy actually said that you already had the man that had the vision for Irish football and you ran him out, which somebody responded, went, that's hilarious. Because you don't actually know he's taking the piss or not. And then you had someone said, well, if you actually showed that you could run an organization, maybe you'd be trusted with funds. I think there's a few valid points. Like, football has been underfunded in Ireland for years, and that's not just the current FEI. That's just been traditionally the case. But yeah, so get onto your parents, Martin. Get them talking about Irish football. None of that hurling nonsense.
Local candidates in Kilkenny, yeah. I will.
Yeah,
I know a few of them, so yeah, we'll get the mention out. We'll see what's happening.
absolutely will. And yeah, I think. Oh, actually, big news happening. Big thing happening in London, actually, isn't it? You were telling me off there.
Yes. Well,
Yeah,
yeah. Even on the last show, in which I joined you, and the audio wasn't fantastic, which probably wasn't at the start of this one either.
yeah. Apologies
But
for that, folks.
yeah, we're getting there. But yeah, I was at the Grove, which is in north outside, not well, Hertfordshire, outside of London, northwest London, basically, and that's where Real Madrid was staying, and I was there just for other reasons, big birthdays and stuff, and the family and stuff. But there was also a football thing as well there. But yeah, Real Madrid rolled into town. Very impressive kind of communication setup. You know, all their media outlets. I know they have Real Madrid TV and stuff, but yeah, some really good footage. And watching them do it was actually very impressive to see as well what goes on behind the scenes in these production shows. A bit like ours, Dave.
Oh
You know,
yeah,
it
yeah.
doesn't just
Slick.
happen by magic. And yeah, so they're rolling to town. You know, 2 team coaches ready to go off to Wembley. You know, the itinerary, the hotel kind of part of it goes into lockdown, different signage, security everywhere, really, really good. But you know, it's a top kind of venue as a hotel. They've got a pitch where we were actually doing some football and stuff. It's unbelievable to play on, which I got the opportunity to do so, which was fantastic. Uh, Played against England player Michael Dawson. That was good.
Who else
Shut him
did you
down. It
meet?
was quite good.
And also, who else did you meet?
Lots of footballers are there. Like Michael
Yep.
Dawson, Marlon Harewood. Then I had a chat with Rio Ferdinand. He rocked
Yeah.
up. So this is a whole not a world really. Jesus, I mean we did it as a special kind of occasion. But Rio rocked up on a back of a motorbike, done a Q&A for an hour. Um, Unbelievable, that guy. I mean, I know Gary Neville's known as being very busy, but Rio, right? Um, he just said to everyone he'd been at that morning. He'd been in central London doing an interview for TNT Sports, I believe it was, with Figo and Ruud Gullit, all for their build up of either the Euros or the Champions League final this weekend in Wembley. Um, and then I seen him doing a Q&A later on then with TNT somewhere else with their kind of pre-show kind of things that they were doing. McManaman, Ali McCoist. I see Mourinho's actually on their kind of pundit roster for the final as well coming up. But yeah, unbelievable. It was crazy. The kids all did who were on the football kind of camp. They done a Q&A with him, and he was asked a key question, and he gave a shout out to John O'Shea, which was nice to hear. Basically, he said they asked him how did you prepare for retirement? Did you find it hard? And he said when he was 27, he decided that he would look into what he was going to be doing after football. He said lots of his teammates left it then until they were finished, and they left it too late. He said he got into 5 or 6 business opportunities, done his coaching badges with John O'Shea, Michael Carrick, and yeah, look, it's crazy, isn't it? A few years later, he's like one of the main pundits on TNT for the Champions League final, biggest European trophy, I suppose.
Yeah.
And then John O'Shea's off in Dublin preparing as a manager to be taking on Hungary and then Portugal.
Portugal afterwards. Yeah. I mean, I can't stand Rio Ferdinand as a pundit. I'm just saying. Can't stand him. Nothing to do with the
Very
Liverpool.
savvy with media though, like media and social media.
He'd
Very
want
good
to
in
be,
it,
wouldn't he? He'd
Well,
want to
yeah,
be.
but I mean he's just involved in everything. But yeah, then he just got on the back of the bike and he was off again doing something else. So really good with all the kids and stuff. I had photos, signed stuff, absolutely brilliant. So then he said, "Oh, I recognise you from Lansdowne Raw podcast. Let's do it," because he does a podcast, doesn't he? So he
Yeah.
said, "Let's just make sure we get a photo so you can show Dave."
Yeah. And yeah, well done. I mean, you made Rio Ferdinand's dreams come true. There he is. He's so happy. Look at you there,
Yeah.
Martin. Fucking wetting your pants. Right. Anyway, we're gonna leave it there. We will be on next on Monday. We're gonna have a preview of Ireland against Hungary. Martin and myself. Haven't even asked Martin if he's ready for it. I just expect him to be ready for it because it's international duty, and we're going to be over in Dublin. And of course, we will be live from the ground. We're going to do the pre-match, and we're going to do the aftermath. all that happy stuff. So just check your socials. And as always, folks, hit that subscribe button, scan that QR code, head over to our Facebook, Instagram, and our Twitter. And if you can, please spread the word about Lansdowne. We're doing our best. And also, we're trying to grow the YouTube channel. So please hit subscribe on the YouTube channel. It would mean a great deal to us. Anyway, I'm David Dunn. He is Martin Prendergast. We are out of here. We'll see you on Monday. Good night. God bless.